G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. I put the music on because I'm probably gonna be yelling this looking at this game. And yeah, like, comment, and subscribe helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, be warned, probably gonna be some yelling. Crusaders versus Rebels. Last game, Super Rugby Trans-Tasman. Anzac Day, Showdown, Super Long Weekend. This was the last game. And this was probably the worst game of the weekend, and especially from the Rebels. This was there is a point, right, where a team is so poor they should just be dropped from the competition. And I was watching this game. I thought the Rebels really did not look like a professional rugby team. I honestly could not believe how bad the Rebels were. You might say, oh, they're playing against the Crusaders, man, give them the break. The Crusaders had a bit of a rough game themselves. To be fair, they had some handling errors, but they tidied it up and came back in the second half and really showed determination, showed a lot of, you know, a lot of like regret with their mistakes, and really, you know, made an effort to get themselves back into the game. Right, the halftime score was 7 points to 3. So the Crusaders had overwhelming dominance over the Rebels, but was not able to score due to their own errors. Second half, they tied it up. 35 points in the second half for the Crusaders. And the Rebels... Well, okay, despite the Rebels being the only home team in this competition, this was by far the worst team on the weekend. And despite, like, you know, the Crusaders giving them opportunities again and again and again, the Rebels had absolutely no threat for like 65 minutes before they, actually almost 17 minutes before they scored their first try, right? It was literally like watching, you know, if you play a computer game, the Rebels would literally be like an easy, like computer, right? Where it's programmed to not beat the real player because it's supposed to be easy. This is what it looked like. The Crusaders were literally like making mistakes left and right, and the Rebels didn't look anything in any way, shape, or form threatening to score. There was drop balls everywhere, okay? And you might remember, the Rebels played the Reds in round, I think it was 2, Super Rugby, where in the second half, there was like 10 drop balls from the Rebels team. But that was in the rain. I thought that was the worst half of professional rugby I've ever watched, where there was just like scrummaging constantly. This was dry, perfect day. Even the commentators were just like baffled by the amount of drop balls that was happening for both teams, but way more so to the Rebel side. It was horrendous. Just so many drop balls. The first attacking line out in the Crusaders 22 for the Rebels was 60. Was it 60? 69th minute. It took the Rebels 69 minutes to get a attacking line out inside the Crusaders 22. A 5-meter line out. And like I said, the Crusaders were making a lot of mistakes themselves. It was just horrendous. I want to call out Elof, the Rebels tight head prop. He does not look like he knows how to tackle. There was one point where he grabbed, honestly, I kid you not, he grabbed what's his name? Severis's jersey, and he just like spun him around and then just let him go. I couldn't, like, I was watching like, what the fuck are you doing? He literally just grabbed his jersey, spun him around, and like flung him back, like just flumming off, like just like he was, you know, like a slingshot, just flumming off and let him go. And then after that, he proceeded to miss 2 more tackles in about 15 seconds. I don't know what this guy's Elof. This guy's the starting tight head prop for the Rebels. The defense of the Rebels was awful. There was literally times that the forward pack doesn't seem to understand how to defend the ruck. Like, literally, like, you can see like there's a huge gap where the rock is, and nobody is standing by the between the rock and the like next to the rock, like guarding the pillar and post position. So no one's there, and like the props just like standing there looking at the rock, like 2 meters away from it. And then guess what? The Crusaders pick and go, and he just lost like another 10 meters. In fact, one of the tries was scored like, exactly like that. Like there was just nobody, everybody, like nobody next to the rocks. They were like the prop was standing 2 meters away from the rock, and like whilst the Crusaders on the try line. I genuinely don't know who the fuck taught these players how to defend, man. Like, it was horrendous. Fayenga Anuku from the Crusaders here must have broken through like double-digit tackles, right? Like, there must be double-digit tackles missed on this one guy, Fayenga Anuku. I mean, he is good, but I don't think that one person could make double-digit missed tackles from another team. It's just unbelievably awful from the Rebels. The defense was non-existent. And yeah, it was like watching high school kids who's never played it before. Like, just basic errors. Like, a lineout comes in, the halfback passes the ball to the first receiver, drop ball. This happened like 4 times in the game. I don't even, like, this, like, the commentators called it, what is it, what do they call it? What is it called? Unforced errors. Literally, nobody was even there. Just like, can't catch the ball. Okay, like unforced errors. Okay, they called it, and it was just absolutely like horrendous to watch. For the Crusader side, like I said, really, I don't know how they didn't score more points in the first half. They were having a rough time themselves. Drop balls everywhere. Cody Taylor had a bit of a rough game. Linehouse wasn't going too good. Blackadder had a rough start, but then he tidied himself up, scoring 2 tries in the second half. Moronga looked quite good when he had the opportunities throughout the game. Looked very threatening, and the Crusaders maybe looked like in the first half they tried to push themselves a little bit too hard with their handling, and they were just like actually making themselves a bit of mistakes, forcing a bit of mistakes out of themselves for trying to maybe push a bit too fast with the pace. Fayenga Anuku, like I said, was running through players left and right. I mean, I'm sure the tackle count is probably wrong here, but like he literally like just having people hanging off him whilst running over try lines. Like 4 Rebels players hanging onto him, running over try lines. I honestly don't know how you could be this bad, right? One player could be running with 3-4 players hanging onto him, and you're not able to put him down. Like, it's unbelievable, right? How poor this was. And also, the man of the match for me, Pablo Matera, the Argentinian. He played like he deserved a spot in the All Blacks. He was absolutely amazing this game. Like, just everywhere, chasing down kicks, putting in big tackles, good offloads, good, like excellent support play, just absolute workhorse around the park. Pablo Matera, really, really big thumbs up to this guy. So let's have a look at the stupid stats of this game, right? 769 run meters for the Crusaders to the Rebels 200. Like, that is just, that's 3 times the run meters over the Rebels. Double the carries account, 124 to 16. Both teams considered over a lot of turnovers, 17 to 17. Tackles missed for the Rebels, 38. There's only 146 tackles being made. That's like what, 25% of your tackles? 30% of your tackles missed? I just like, do you guys even like? I don't know. Like, we know these numbers are undercounted as well in rugby.com.au, because if Fayenga Anuku goes in for a try with 3 people hanging on to him, that's not 3 missed tackles. That's 0 missed tackles, when in reality that should be 3. Because if you foul him to stop him from scoring, that's 3 missed tackles, right? I'm sure that's not counted, because it was unbelievably poor by the Rebels. Conversions perfect from Moronga. 2 missed penalty goals from Reece Hodge, and yeah, penalties from the Crusaders actually were struggling in the first half. 14 penalties conceded, 11 full time. At halftime, the Crusaders already conceded 8 penalties to the Rebels 3. So the Crusaders really struggled a lot in the first half with their own discipline. There was 423 run meters for the Crusaders at halftime already. despite the score being 7 points to 3. So really, the Crusaders really like gave the Rebels plenty of opportunity. It's like you have those, what do you call it? Get out of jail cards. You're supposed to have one of them, but Rebels had like 6 in the first half, right? And they just like keep using it, and Crusaders were not able to score. So yeah, let's quickly go through the game. This was just horrendous. I mean, I felt like the Rebels should be kicked out of the competition for a period for them to regather, because this is really poor. This is not really a game. This level of performance is not something that it's not something that is worth paying to watch. This is not a product that people should be paying to watch. The level of performance by the Rebels, this was way below that is acceptable standards for a paid sporting match. I can go watch my local club, Randwick, play, and I would not see this many drop balls from a team. Honestly, it's really, really bad. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look at the game. This is a really bizarre game, like I'm mentioning. The Crusaders had a lot of issues at the start. Matt Tuamura actually was a big loss for the Rebels. He got knocked out like really early in the first half, so the Rebels had to bring on that redhead kid to fill in. So yeah, maybe that's hurt him a little bit. But 20 minutes into the game, like I said, that ruck defense around the ruck, like just it's almost like the most basic defensive structure that you defend around the ruck with the pillar and the post is not there. So Richie Mwanga gets the ball, right? He looks up, 2 locks in front of him, and nobody near no one defending the ruck. He just run at the lock, steps inside, no one there near the ruck, runs straight through, right? And he runs through, and then he links up with the Crusaders number 8. What's his name? Let's get his name up. Link up with Grace, goes in for the first try. 20 minutes in the first half. Crusaders gets on the board, 7 points to 0, and that was the first and only try that was scored in the first half. So there was a opportunity a few minutes later where Pablo Matera makes a nice break. He throws the ball to the Crusaders, Cody Taylor, and Cody Taylor was trying to push a pass out to his support player, and the ball went forward. So that could have been a try there with Cody Taylor, but yeah, the Pablo Matera did a really good effort of making a break and able to make it like a miracle offload in the same time. So Crusaders look quite good, but the handling was really starting to hurt them. Quite a bit of knock-ons. So with less than, how much was it? Yeah, with less than 25 minutes, the Crusaders has 7 knock-ons already. 25 minutes in, the Crusaders already has 7 knock-ons. 29 minutes, both teams starting to knock on left and right, and the Crusaders got really close. Fainga Anuku, the man that running over people left and right, drops the ball 5 meters out from the try line after the Crusaders getting really close again. On the 35th minute, the Rebels gets finally, literally like the first time getting inside the Crusaders half, gets a penalty about 40 meters out on the breakdown. Sam Whitelock was caught offside. The Rebels kicks, what's his name? Rhys Hodge kicks this, hits the post, right? And then the Rebels basically had an opportunity here for the Crusaders basically trying to clear the ball out, and then it was basically basically the Rebels had a line out just after the Crusaders 22, right? And immediately the Rebels knock on the ball. First pass to the first ball receiver, knock on, right? Like I was just like even the commentators were baffled at this point. On the 40th minute, Sam Whitelock gets smashed. Another penalty on the breakdown. Finally, Rebels gets another opportunity to go for a 3. Like pretty much the second or third opportunity they had inside the Crusaders half to kick this one. Halftime score, 7 points to 3. 9 handling errors for the Crusaders. Really did not help them. 11 turnovers against the Crusaders to the Rebels 8. So the Crusaders was literally probably pushed themselves a little bit too hard, despite having, like I said, 423 run meters to the Rebels 125. Second half starts, Crusaders comes out, 1 minute into the game, try. The floodgate looked like it might opened up. Faianga Anuku gets the ball, nice little offload to Pablo Matera on the wing. Matera, inside ball to Richie Muonga. Richie Muonga runs down the field. It looked like he could have scored. Like, the tackling was non-existent for the Rebels. Richie Muonga actually shrugs off the fullback try to tackle him, but instead of him going in for himself, it looked like he thought he was gonna get like tackled, but he wasn't. He was still on his feet, was like running. He pops the ball to Pablo Matera. Matera, he was looking like he was gonna run into. It looked like Matera was gonna run into. It was such a weird position. It looked like the two players are gonna run into each other, run into Muonga, and Muonga didn't want to, collide into what do you call it, Matera. He drops onto the ground himself, right? He tackles himself, and then Matera runs in. Oh, it wasn't Matera, sorry, it was Blackadder. He didn't want to run into Blackadder, so he tackles himself, and Blackadder runs in for the second try of the Crusaders, 1 minute into the second half. The Crusaders did show like scrum dominance throughout the game, and there was a bit of a scrum penalty kind of going for both sides. On the 47th minute, the Rebels finally make a break, right? Basically, this was a really nice play. The Rebels kind of like turn over the ball, and they make a nice little break down like the sideline, and then he like literally try to link up, drop ball. Okay. On the 48th minute, Cody Taylor, again, like I say, he's had a tough game this game. Another drop ball for him, and he gets taken off the field. Yeah, Cody Taylor really not in form for some reason this game. So after Cody Taylor's came off, ironically, the Crusaders really kicked into gear. On the 15th minute, the Crusaders, again, just a nice little inside ball around the ruck, makes a nice little break. Who was it? I think it might be Faianga Anuku. But yeah, gets like a nice inside ball, Crusaders. Again, like I said, around the rucks, no one seems to be defending it. There was a nice little break, and then they just kind of like follow that momentum up with just quick hands out wide to the number 8. Number 8 was on the wing, throws the ball inside to Ethan Blackadder, goes into the corner for the third try for the Crusaders. Also, this was a big return for Josh Goodhue. Massive return for the All Blacks. He has some like knee ligament damage for So if that inside center position for the All Blacks, you must be pretty happy about that. So Josh Goodhue is back. Really good news there. On the 57th minute, there was a knock on Seville Reese. So yeah, everybody's having a tough time. Not George Bridge, the other Bridge. And then a minute later, it was George Bridge kicks the ball out on the full. So Rebels has another opportunity just outside of the Crusaders 22 for attack, right? And I swear to God, I almost punched my TV screen here. Just outside 22 line out, Rebels throws the line out in. The halfback throws the ball to the first ball receiver, drop ball. I swear to God, I almost punched the TV. I could not. I wanted to stop watching at this point. This was just like, it was so bad. It was just so bad. 63rd minute. The Crusaders gets a third try. Again, the Crusaders were piling up pressure inside the Rebels 22. One of the players gets tackled short, so there was a ruck under the post on the try line, right? You can imagine it's on the try line, and the Rebels reserve prop was just standing there 2 meters away from the ruck, looking at the guy about to pick up the ball, right? And Hall, what is his name? Brent Hall. He can see him gonna pick up, and they can see Brent Hall looking at the massive gap between him and the ruck. And instead of just moving in to take up the gap, he just stands there looking at him. And Brent Hall's just like, are you really not gonna like cover this huge gap between the ruck and you? Just went, all right, picks the ball up, dots the ball down. Easiest try I've ever seen. Like, again, just high school level kids knows better than this. Like, it was just embarrassing. On the 65th minute, the Rebels, there was a bit of a chip and chase for the Crusaders. Rebels recovers the ball. They try to throw throw a pass between themselves, and the ball just kind of like flung up in the air. Nobody was set to catch it. Pablo Matera, yeah, they basically knock on. They didn't knock on, but there was just like a loose pass. So the chip kicked through, and then the Rebels try to throw a pass to one, recovers the ball, try to throw a pass. It was a loose pass. Matera follows up, kicks the ball through, the loose pass through, recovers it, and then he runs the ball like 10 meters out from the Rebels line before he gets tackled. And then the Crusaders gets the ball out, just spreads the ball out wide open spaces out wide. The Rebels defense was non-existent. Big prop, Williams coming off the bench goes in for the Crusaders. What is it? 5th try. Okay, and then on the 69th minute, finally the Rebels gets their first attacking line out inside the Crusaders 22. It's a 5-meter line out. They finally get some space. This was a nice set, a line out attack that gets the ball. And then seeing that the Crusaders rush defense, the Rebels put a grabber kick, get behind. Reece Hodge runs through, gets the ball down for the first try for the Rebels. 35 points to 10. Gets this converted. And then on the 71st minute, Rebels drops the ball again. 76th minute, there was the Rebels gets their second try. There was another line out. The Rebels did some good hard running, carries. And then one of their props gets his pants ripped off. I've never actually seen this. I've never seen someone's pants get... He gets his pants completely... You know, you've seen people getting pants pulled down, right? He gets his pants completely ripped off off his body. Like, it was off. And the Crusader player just threw the pants away. Like, it was completely ripped off. He was, like, on the ground with his undies. But maybe that has something to do with it. The ball comes out, goes to Matt Phillip, who big strides, bumps through like one defender, goes over for the second try for the Rebels. And yeah, that was and then there was about 4 minutes left. On the 78th minute, you're like, okay, Rebels are stabilizing. 78th minute, another missed pass by the Rebels. So it was a bit of like, I think it was a bit of there was a bit of a like mix up in defense. Another missed pass. The ball kind of like hit Fainga Anuku in the shoulder, and then Fainga Anuku chases up, picks up the ball, and I swear to God, he bumps off first defender, and then 3 players were on him. There was 3 players hanging onto him. He was still running. He must have ran like from the first defender that he fended off. He must have ran about 25 meters to get over the try line, having 3 players hanging onto him, and he still wrestles the ball down to the ground for a try. I could not. I mean, I can't make this up. How bad this defense was from the Rebels. How can 3 people not have to hold him out? And if you're not able to hold him out, how can 3 people not able to hold up the ball? Like, I can't make this up. How bad this was. So Fainga Anuku goes over on the 78th minute for the 6th try for the Crusaders, and that was the end of the game. Yeah, I've written here 4 missed tackles for that one run by Fainga Anuku. 42 points to 17. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I felt like the Rebels should be, there should be some repercussions for these people. They're just a bunch of players who's there to collect a paycheck. Like, it was so bad. The defense is just unbelievable. And just amateur, unforced error. Unforced errors again and again and again and again. Drop ball, drop ball, drop ball. Not raining this time. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next week for the news. Cheers.